Welcome to another enlightening episode of Sharing is Caring, the podcast where we dive deep into topics that touch our hearts and lives and share insights that can make a real difference. I'm your AI host, Blue, and I'm thrilled to introduce our main guest, Alison Bladh. In this episode, we're peeling back the layers of nutritional science to reveal how it can be a beacon of hope for women navigating the choppy waters of menopause. Alison has a wealth of knowledge in the realm of nutritional therapy. We'll share her journey from beauty therapist to nutritional expert and how she helps women reclaim their sparkle during one of the most challenging phases of their lives. We'll uncover the power of whole foods, the importance of stress management, and the simple truths behind a balanced diet that can change your life. But before we dive in, I want to take a moment to thank you, faithful listeners, for tuning in. Your support means the world to us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Sharing is Caring so you never miss an episode. And now, without further ado, let's embark on this journey together and unravel the mysteries of hormones and how to thrive through menopause with the right dietary choices. Remember, your health is your wealth, and today we're investing in knowledge that pays the best interest. So, grab your favorite healthy snack, settle in, and let's get started. And once again, thank you for being such faithful listeners. Your presence makes our show what it is. Let's jump right in.
Hi, Alison. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Really good. Yeah. Great to be talking with you here today.
Thank you so much for joining. Where is it that you're calling from?
I actually live at the moment, I live outside Stockholm in Sweden, but I am originally British.
Okay, yeah, well, your accent definitely sounds British, so yeah. Cool. So what is it that you do? Can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. I'm a registered nutritional therapist. So I work with basically nutritional science, and I specialize in women's menopausal health. So the time in a woman's life where hormones can start becoming very imbalanced. So what we call perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And with the power of nutrition, lifestyle modifications, that mindset, I really support women through this period in their life because it can be a very tough time. I actually started my career as an esthetician, as a beauty therapist, and that was when I first really started getting interested in hormones because I saw the effect that nutrition had on the skin. You know, people really started to think about what they ate and improved what they were eating. You know, that's when they really saw changes in their skin if they had acne problems they had, and that's what triggered me to go and study nutrition. So really, you know, looking at not just working on the outside with aesthetic treatments, but working on the inside with, you know, skincare, with nutrition and lifestyle modifications. I like to say I help women get their sparkle back.
Okay, that's amazing what you do. Let me bounce back on what you said. You were formerly a beauty therapist. And did you see more impact in your work as a beauty therapist or as a nutritional therapist?
I mean, I predominantly work as a nutritional therapist now and have done for quite a few years. However, that skin piece always comes in. And the fact of the knowledge that I have as an esthetician or beauty therapist, you know, it's very in-depth how we study the skin. So I can't really say one or the other, but I think really to get the maximum effect on your skin and overall health, you need both.
Okay. I was expecting a more clear-cut statement, such as actually nutrition is more important for your skin than any other treatment. But you say it's balanced, if I get it right?
Yeah, because you also have to look at, I mean, nutrition is a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. It's you know, if you're looking percentage-wise, I would say maybe like 70% nutrition, 30% skin care. But for example, a good example of this is sun care products. You know, you have to put or it's been shown in research that we need to protect our skin from the sun, which you need to use a product to do that. You can't do that with nutrition. So there's certain things within beauty therapy that are crucial for the skin that we can't do with nutrition. So you really need both disciplines to reach like optimal health, skin health, and overall health.
Okay, that's an amazing statement, and I guess just because you have this cross background, you can make such statement, and that's so valuable. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, really. Okay, let me feed for information. Since you're a nutritional therapist, what would you say are the most impactful food? That would be also a nice one for a snippet, or the most impactful dietary changes or diets or whatever. What can a woman do to improve her health throughout menopause?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge question. I mean, I could talk for hours because there's just so many things when it comes to menopause. There's so many changes that happen in the body. And
maybe, sorry to interrupt, maybe just a reminder, women would be definitely familiar with that, but since our audience is quite mixed, would you maybe briefly describe the change that occurred during menopause?
Yeah, sure. Menopause it's a transition, and it's in three different phases. The first phase is called perimenopause, and that's really like, on average, it starts at the age of 45. That it can be younger, it can be older. We're all very individual, on average. And perimenopause is where things start to become unbalanced. It's kind of the hormones start playing up as you go into menopause. But you're still menstruating, you're still fertile, but it can be that you can actually be estrogen dominant during perimenopause, which means that your estrogen levels are quite high, and progesterone, which is another female sex hormone, which is very important, can be quite low. So things are kind of all over the place. But in perimenopause, when these hormonal changes start happening, that's when you can suddenly start experiencing menopausal symptoms, like hot flashes, acne, weight gain, itchy skin, mood, brain fog. The list goes on. There's about 40 different symptoms. So that's perimenopause. And then after perimenopause, when your estrogen and progesterone levels are declined, you then actually go into menopause. And menopause is really when you haven't had a period for a year. So you haven't menstruated for a year, you are then in what we call menopause. And this means that you're no longer producing as much estrogen, you can no longer get pregnant. And then all the time after that is what we call postmenopause. And postmenopause is, it's the next phase in a woman's life. It can be 30 plus years, but you don't have, you have a little bit of estrogen and progesterone that your adrenal glands produce, which sit on top of your kidneys, but you don't have those levels of hormones. And because of that, you've got these symptoms to deal with, and then there's health risks that come into play, because estrogen is a really important hormone. It's needed for virtually all bodily systems. So when you come into postmenopause and you've not got those levels of estrogen anymore, for example, you can be vulnerable to osteoporosis, weaker, fragile bones. You can the rate of cardiovascular disease in women goes up. There's a lot of research now. We don't fully understand it, but they're looking at maybe some sort of connection between dementia and the decline in estrogen, because the cases of dementia are much higher in women, and it's usually in later life. So there's a lot of different things that are going on there. But in answer to your previous question about, what can you do with nutrition? That's a huge question. But what I would say, to be more general to women, because when I work with clients, I work very individually and really get down to what they need. because it totally depends on what they're experiencing, the symptoms they're having, their gut health, etc. But one thing that is very key for women going through menopause, if you're really only going to do, well, two things for your health that really make a difference, is one is blood sugar management. Because again, when your estrogen levels decline, you're at higher risk of what we call insulin resistance. Your body can't handle sugar, basically, the way that it did when you were younger. And if you've got higher blood sugar levels, this can lead to insulin resistance, which means your body doesn't utilize, or it can't manage the sugar in your blood like it used to. And if this is left unchecked and you don't do anything about it, it can lead to diabetes too. So blood sugar management is key. And what does that mean? It means, eating whole foods in balance, eating fiber, eating vegetables, not all these processed, highly refined, sugary foods that just shoot your blood sugar up, because they're so refined. They're very easy for our bodies to digest. And when you digest something very quickly, it's got a lot of sugar in it, that shoots your blood sugar up. So things like whole foods, with that are rich in fiber, like whole grains, like brown rice, like cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, all of these things are very, very good for blood sugar management, and for cruciferous vegetables that are brilliant for our hormonal health as well. Because when we're talking about, especially perimenopause, where you can be estrogen dominant, when our body utilizes estrogen, we need to be able to eliminate it. The old estrogen needs to be eliminated. For us to be able to do that, we need to have fiber in our diet. And cruciferous vegetables have again been shown in research to be great for helping the body to eliminate used estrogen and eliminating waste from the body. So that's really crucial. And then the other thing that I would say for menopausal women, for people in general really, is to look at managing stress. And that might sound, everyone's talking about stress, but there's everybody seems to be suffering from chronic stress, and this is so detrimental to health. And it triggers off all menopausal symptoms. It makes your experience of menopause so much worse if you're constantly stressed. The reason behind, there's many reasons, but one is stress hormones. We have a hormone in particular called cortisol, which when you're chronically stressed, your body will be releasing this hormone. And this hormone is great if we need to run away from danger, which really the stress response was meant for. But now in today's society, we get stressed over everything. So we're constantly secreting this hormone. And this raises your blood sugar, it affects digestion, it stores fat. So it's very hard to lose weight if you're constantly stressed, because this hormone wants to conserve energy, so it will actually store fat. So working on stress management, whatever works for you, deep breathing, going for a walk, you just have to make time to look after yourself and really look at what you can do to manage your stress. And also, talking about nutrition, all these very refined foods put stress on the body. They cause inflammation. So when your body's already going through the menopause and you're maybe not feeling your best, the last thing you want to do is feed yourself with these foods that aren't going to nourish you.
Okay. Your message was extremely clear, and I'm so grateful and thankful for sharing it. And it's really a pleasure. I have tons of follow-up questions, but I will abstain for many reasons. Because, in all frankness, I want to ask you about diets. There are many diets out there, and some of them are not necessarily good when it comes to hormones and stress. And I wanted to talk about that without, demonizing any diet, basically. Do you have maybe quick things to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, as a nutritional therapist, as a registered nutritional therapist, everything that I say is based on science. You know, that there's so much information out there, isn't there? There's just information on nutrition everywhere, and everyone has, which is fine. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but when you look at the science, you know, behind it, we still need more research, and nutrition is a moving science, isn't it? We change our mind on, oh, maybe that was wrong and now we should be doing this. But one thing that we see that is very nutritious for us when we look at a way of eating is eating whole foods in balance. And, you know, it doesn't have to be complicated. Restriction long term doesn't work because you can't, you know, you have to live, don't you? It has to be a lifestyle that you can do every day forever. If you try and really restrict certain micronutrients, macronutrients, it isn't going to work long term, because we need carbohydrates, we need healthy fats, and we need protein, and that's really what our diet should be based on. But it's very much about what sort of foods you choose to eat. You know, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's whole foods. You know, a Mediterranean style diet has been shown to really be very beneficial and nutritious. And what's that? A Mediterranean diet is, you know, fish, a small amount of poultry, very little red meat, vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, and your wonderful healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts and seeds, butter. So it's all about diversity. We don't want to be restricting ourselves on what we eat. We want to be eating nutritious whole foods in balance. That's the key, really, and having it as a lifestyle. You know, if you cut out all the sugary, damaged fats, processed foods, which are, unfortunately are everywhere. In you know, I'm not saying it's easy. Our food environment in today's society is difficult to navigate because these foods are everywhere, and they're very addictive, and they taste lovely. You know, they've got the sugar, they've got the fat. They're made to make us addicted to them. So you really have to be very mindful and focused that I'm choosing not to eat those sort of foods because they have a detrimental effect on our health and our hormones, and they're just not very nutritious. So if you feed your body with nutritious food and you balance your blood sugar, you know, you feel great. It doesn't have to be complicated.
I tend to agree with you. I think, yeah, people have been eating in a non-complicated way for a long time. So, yeah, nutrition, food choices shouldn't be so complicated, especially, yeah. So that was Alison, the nutritional therapist. I'm curious to know what Alison eats in her normal life. What food do you like? Do you like to cook or going to the restaurant?
No, I love cooking, but I was lucky enough to have a mother who was a professional chef. So I was brought up in the kitchen from a very young age, you know, helping her and everything. So no, I loved being in the kitchen, experimenting and making new recipes, etc. When it comes to food, I mean, so many foods that I love, but if I'm just going to pick a few, then I love avocados. I mean, they are so beneficial for all the wonderful oils that are in them and nutrients. I suppose something, if I was going to pick one thing that, you know, is easy to make is salmon, you know, a salmon salad with avocado in, with nuts and seeds, you know, a quick lunch to make. It is delicious. I think, you know, salmon's got all your omega-3 fatty acids in, so that's very beneficial. But I cook from scratch. I buy all raw ingredients. I'm a huge fan. I know it's a bit, people say, oh, broccoli. You know, everyone talks about broccoli, but I am a huge fan of broccoli. I think there's many different things that you can do with broccoli, and it's delicious, and it's so beneficial for hormonal health and the fiber content and vitamins in it. So food. I love food. I love cooking. So.
Nice one. So in your answer, I heard the nutritional therapist a little bit. We kept saying, yeah, it has a lot of omega this and a lot of nutrients, etc. But fine. I'm happy you shared your favorite foods. And salmon sounds so Swedish, so me too. Okay, last question for you. Any advice to share with our audience from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, the blood sugar balance and the stress management are two main things. But it's just, especially for women going into perimenopause or menopause, I think you really have to accept that this is it's a transition in your life, and get the support that you need. If you're feeling bad or you're feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, there's lots of resources out there that can really help you. So don't feel that you have to suffer in silence. Ask for help, because this is the next phase in your life, and it can, as I said earlier, it can be the next 30 years in your life, because we're living a lot longer. So just get the support and the help you need so you can really thrive through this next phase in your life.
Talking about support, where can people find more about your work, and how can people get in touch with you when they go through this time, or for just general advice?
The best place is via my website, which is alisonbladh.com. That's Bladh. I'm on all social media. If you just look for Alison Bladh. On my website, I've got a resources page if anyone wants to download any. There's lots of recipe ideas for women. And all my links to social media are on my website there. So yeah, that's the best place.
We'll put of course everything in the show notes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time. That was Alison Bladh calling from Stockholm, Sweden.
Great, thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Talking to you.
Here to wrap things up with the warmth of a heartfelt hug. A tremendous thank you to our wonderful listeners for spending this time with us. Your presence turns every word we share into a treasure. We have been through a journey through the nutritional landscape of women's health during menopause. Together, we've discovered the pivotal role of balanced blood sugar and stress management, the symphony of whole foods, and the gentle power of dietary wisdom in bringing back the sparkle to life's golden years. If today's episode has touched your heart or sparked a curiosity to learn more, we invite you to subscribe to Sharing is Caring. Your subscription is a golden thread in the tapestry of our community, and every review you leave helps us grow and glow even brighter. Before we part, let's take a moment to reflect on the main learning from today's episode. Nourishment is not just about the food on our plate, but the care we take in choosing it, the love with which we prepare it, and the peace with which we enjoy it. Remember, you have the power to influence your health and well-being through the simple, yet profound choices you make every day. For those eager to continue this conversation or seeking guidance on their personal health journey, Alison's wisdom is just a click away. All links can be found in our show notes. As we say our goodbyes, remember that in the garden of life, every act of sharing is an act of caring. Keep sowing the seeds of kindness and watch as your world blossoms with joy. Until next time, keep shining, keep sharing, and above all, keep caring.